G'day and welcome to On The Esky, an Aussie sports podcast where we like to wrap up the week/fortnight that was in the wide world of sports. We like our Aussie shit. We like a little bit of overseas shit. Unofficially brought to you by Capital Brewing. We're 2.5 cases to go now. Just left over from the wedding.
Thereabouts.
Boys, I'm excited. I'm half Chubb, half Nick Chubb at the moment because this is probably the biggest show in recent memory. Cricket.
Lots going on.
Might just, glaze over the cricket. Not much happened. Australia got rolled in 3 days to borderline cheaters. We'll discuss. Obviously, India win the first test in Nagpur pretty convincingly. The Scorchers are the champions of the BBL. There's a little thing called the Super Bowl that is happening tomorrow. My first Monday off for the Super Bowl in quite some time. I'm a little bit excited for it. The NBA. There's a bloke called Lebron James who has broken the scoring record. A little bit of LeBron gear here, thanks to probably Canberra's biggest LeBron fan in Trent Naden, friend of the show. Lent us 3 of his 36 jerseys.
Yeah, you got a try last night.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah. Distant relative, Brent Naden. A few trades. Jeez, a few trades to discuss in the NBA.
Very busy week in the NBA, yeah.
Super teams coming up.
Yeah, a few super teams. KD, Snake. EPL, Man City have been naughty boys. They've been naughty. Will anything happen? I don't think so.
Not in our lifetimes, probably.
No, probably not. And the final round, we have had a disappointing result, let's say, in UFC 284 as Aussie fans, although Alexander Volkanovski going down to Islam Makhachev, he didn't disappoint any Aussies given his 5-round effort. We'll break down the card during our final round. Please remember we've got timestamps. You can skip to the sports that you like or just watch the whole damn thing if you're a nuffy like us. And the Carlton Draft, D-R-A-F-T, you can get 20% off by using the code ESKY, E-A-E-S-K-Y. We're going to do an order with the AFL season upcoming. They've got some good gear. We like to start the show by shouting a beer. We might start with you, Shauno. Yes. Is it NFL themed this week?
Yes, definitely. I was thinking maybe I shout James a beer so he can turn that light on that's behind me. But I'm going to talk about the one in the corner. I'm going to talk about DeMarcus Ware. So DeMarcus Ware was named into the Hall of Fame. Predominantly a Cowboy for most of his career before finishing, I think, with 4 years in Denver, or maybe it was 3. Yeah. Of course, winning his first Super Bowl with the Broncos to finish up his career and creating one of the best tandems of pass rushers with Von Miller. So it was great to see him on his second year, I believe, of eligibility to get in to be a Hall of Famer. So a beer on me, though I think with the way he trained and the way he lives his life and that rig, I don't think he probably takes too much alcohol, but have a fruit juice on us then.
One beer is not going to ruin the 6-pack, is it? Literally one beer. It can be a sip.
Yeah. That's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it is. 1 leads to 2, boys. 2 brings 3. 3 brings 4. Yeah, beers, wickets, same shit, is it not? Congratulations to Marcus Ware, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and there's very interesting class overall for the Hall of Fame. A lot of guys that I guess when we got into the sport are now transitioning into the Hall of Fame. There's a fair few there. And I guess if I hand over to Monks for his shout of beer, he's got one as well.
Yeah. So I'm shouting Rondé Barber a beer this week. Again, inducted into the Hall of Fame for 2023. 3-time All-Pro for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really sort of was that key in the defense, I suppose. Well, the defense was lit when they won the Super Bowl back in 2001.
He played 16 seasons or something as well, so he had a really long career. Yeah,
long term. NFL record, most consecutive starts by a defensive back. 215, 224, including playoffs. Over his career, he scored. He got 1,251 tackles, 47 interceptions, and 14 touchdowns. Really, I suppose also was one of those foundational players in Tampa 2, sort of zone coverage schemes as well. So, it's great to see him in the Hall of Fame. Another buck there.
And some elite cornerbacks going into the Hall recently with Champ a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's it.
Barber this year with Revis as well.
Revis, another Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it's elite group of corners going in currently with more to come.
One club
it.
man as well. Don't see
Yeah.
that often in today's NFL, do you?
No, yeah,
16 years with the Bucks.
that's it. And that light, you pulled the cable out behind you.
Yeah. I'll fix that. I think maybe you need to slide along a little bit too.
Yeah, any shit shows? Let's just talk. I'll shout a beer to Valentino Guselli, although he can't actually legally have one for another year. He's a 17-year-old Aussie snowboarder. Canberra-born, Narooma based, two very nice towns, and he's absolutely killing it in the World Cup this year. The way that their World Cup works is it's not a 4-year gathering; it's actually pretty much every week. But he's doing very well. He's actually the youngest person ever to win medals in the halfpipe, slopestyle, and big air events. 3 years until the Winter Olympics go to Italia in Milan Cortina. So he'll be 20. So I think, snowboarders, they can peak fairly young. So he's probably going to be doing a little bit when 2026 rolls around. And the fact that he's essentially local, our town / coast destination, we'll claim him. It's good to see him doing a little bit there. So congratulations, Valentino. Enjoy that beer responsibly in a year's time when you're allowed to drink it. Mop of the week.
Mop of the week.
This is going to be contentious, boys. We might get a bit of hate here, but I'm willing to cop it on the chin. The mop of the week is the groundskeepers at Nagpur / the Board for Cricket Control of India for rigging...
Keep going.
I don't know if I can say it with a straight face.
Allegedly.
Look, there was some contention around that wicket in Nagpur.
Yeah, the pictures weren't great of the pitch, especially
the pictures of the pitch.
Yes.
Say that 10 times fast.
Especially, where they've watered and rolled certain sections of the pitch and then left others alone. And again, especially with the amount of left-handers of that section would have to play.
5 of our top 7.
Yes. So, a little bit of strategy maybe. Bit there, or a little bit of, like, as you were alluding to, cheating bastards. So
here come the comments. You remember sandpaper a few years ago? You had to blow up the Australian cricket team and rebuild it, etc., etc.
Yeah.
A few lollies maybe as well, and a bit
got
of
lollies,
too.
Faff, if you're listening.
That's it.
Look, it didn't look great, those pictures,
No.
before the game started, and I saw a few nuffies in the comments this week saying, everyone does it, everyone doctors pitches to suit their conditions.
Yeah,
We've got bounce and pace down here. You've got green tops that swing in England. But I'm pretty sure it needs to be consistent throughout the 22 yards. The fact that it was split from midline.
Well, you can see you'd see the sections that were left dry on purpose. So
it's a little bit naughty, I think. A little bit naughty. Look,
in scheme of things, I don't think
did it change the outcome of the test?
I don't think the pitch was that bad.
No, I think. Watching it on
expected.
my low resolution TV with my internet, it didn't look that bad live either. It looked pretty consistent.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were able to.
It was a flat pitch with not much bounce.
No bounce.
Yeah, it didn't have. It had turn, but it didn't have maybe as much turn as you expect. There's probably going to be more turn in the following test that starts on Friday. And that could be a big concern for the Aussies. And I guess that's maybe our segue to get into the cricket for Australia getting demolished by India in the first test.
Innings in 130 odd, and a few tears, Aussie tears. Monks, hit that shit. Let's go through the teams selected to start off with. A lot of conversation, maybe contentious decision to leave Travis Head out. So Cam Green unavailable, Mitch Starc unavailable, few fingers. And then Josh Hazlewood has some Achilles issues.
Yeah, he pulled up a bit lame in some of the warm up there while they were over there. So
he was a late scratching. We always knew Starc wouldn't be playing, and Cam Green was kind of like, well, is he in our top 6 sticks? Because he can probably bat, he just couldn't bowl.
And I think with his injury as well, with the 6 weeks, it aligned perfectly for next week. So he needed this week to, finish his recovery, and he should be available in the following tests. And I have a theory, but we'll get to that, about who they pick for the second test. But for this one, I think the biggest out and most questionable was why is Travis Head left out. And I guess they did pick the right person in Todd Murphy there to partner line.
Well, the selectors are going, phew, thank fuck Todd Murphy did
got one.
Did what he did.
They're batting at 500 though. So.
Yeah, they didn't really get much else right. No. Although Scott Boland played pretty well. Bowled line and length, his first overseas test. Old foot brush, Pete Hanscom back in the side, right-hander.
For a guy that's
good player of spin. Good player of spin. And poor Matt Renshaw, left-hander, didn't do the best. Poor fella. Can't imagine with Cam Green's return that Renshaw plays.
And I have a feeling that there's just too much pressure on the selectors. They'll have to make a change and put Head in the squad as well. So,
Chad Sayers, former teammate, South Australian teammate, posted on Twitter, "It's a fucking disgrace. Good to see a cricketer, speaking their mind." Because that was pretty much my thoughts around it too. The knock on Head was that, look, he's not a great player of spin. He's not very good in India. Newsflash, none of our sticks aren't named Steve Smith any fucking good in India.
Surprised we can't play swing and can't play spin.
Can't play swing in England, can't play spin in India. It showed in this test match. I think
we like bounce. We like when it's bouncing in Australia.
Jess Rhodes, consistent, go out and score 550.
We'd rather the chin music and
against the West Indies and get this inflated self worth and cruising around our jobs, which actually aren't affected by the Australian cricket team's performance, but having that iota of confidence that comes with an Australian domination and knocking over the Saffers, the supposed, at the time, second best team in the world, knocking them over in 3 days, and then you get a little bit of a reality check, don't you?
Yes.
Reality check, please.
We always know it was going to be a challenge going into India to play India.
Yep.
And, they're also trying to play into the WTC, the World Test Championship game.
Which is going to be these two teams.
I think if they win 3-0, 3-1 or 4-0, the India guarantee themselves that they're in the final. If they don't...
If we get swept, do we miss out?
I know, but I think it just guarantees India to get in. Okay. So I think we're so far ahead. Like, we're 20 points ahead of India, but if they do really well against us, that bumps them up and guarantees them a spot.
Okay.
If they, if it's a 2-2 or whatever, then they have to rely on other results to then make sure they're guaranteed in that second spot.
From what I saw in that first test, I'm not confident that I was getting a Desmond Tutu in this one, to be honest.
You brought it up. I think, James, where's your nearest broom? Because, we could be getting swept in this one.
Please, gentleman's 3-1. Would I'd take that.
Yes. And, maybe part of that has to be on the back of Todd Murphy. So let's talk about Todd. Getting, what did he end up with, 7 or 8?
He got 7. He got 7 in that first innings. I think it was their second best ever start.
Yeah, right? So he got his Michelle Pfeiffer, but his final, did he get?
I think he got 7 for the test. Yeah, so seven for 124. So we only bowled once, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think for an Aussie, the only other person to bowl better on their test debut was Jason Frazier. Household name, obviously. Bit of gear, Jason Frazier gear. Some thoughts around his selection. We thought maybe they would go with someone that spins the ball away from the right-hander, a la Ashton Agar, a la Mitchell Schwepson. Obviously, Todd bowled his skin off and the right decision was made.
Yeah, and I think that Sydney Test, as we talked about, Agar didn't perform probably enough to give them confidence. Murphy's record had been excellent, and I think we covered it. We talked about it. The selectors probably got in their head, the whole, if I've gotten one Nathan Lyon, two's got to be good.
Yeah.
And I feel like, they maybe, you look at some of the selections they did make, they probably overthought a bunch of stuff, and that's maybe why they made that selection. But in the end, this worked out really, really well.
Really, really well. Saved the selector's ass in this one. It was a little bit of a surprise. Like, we kind of spoke about it a few weeks ago. Well, like, Todd's in the squad. Good on him. He'll learn a lot from this. But they'll probably want someone to spin the ball away. But yeah, like you say, if you've got one Nathan Lyon, why not use 2? And to Todd's credit, completely out bowled Nathan Lyon in this one. He gets a bit more side spin. Nathan uses a lot of drift and in the air spin.
Which I think might be the concern for Nathan Lyon in India is he like I said, the drift and bounce is that's what he varies up. And with a pitch like this flat as it was, you're not going to get that much bounce in it. And it kind of, and I have the same suspicion that maybe Cummins, and I'm going to start a conspiracy here, is not good in India for that reason. He
had, I don't know if it was the pressure of the occasion, but that spell that he bowled to Rohit on the evening of day one was horrible. It was half volleys on the pads. Rohit says, "Thank you, bacon, eggs, and those for breakfast. Thank you very much."
And I wonder
maybe not bacon.
If,
not sure.
I wonder if he was struggling a little bit with his game. And you've seen with the IPL as well. He doesn't. I don't know. He just doesn't. Those conditions just don't suit him. It's different over there, isn't it? It is, and that's kind of the question with that. The bouncer there. Boland did his job, perfect line. Kept the runs down.
Top of off.
He just couldn't get wickets, but he did his job. But I think the difference between Lyon and Murphy was that, Murphy was probably getting more spin and more turn out of the pitch. So thinking of, I might be jumping ahead of you here a little bit, of the next test match, with that expectation and with the expectation it's probably going to turn more, I feel like Head's probably going to come in for Renshaw. I feel like Cam Green is going to come in for Hanscom. That gives you your second pace option. And I think Boland, because you can't drop the captain, though, he's probably not performing his best. Boland probably gets dropped and maybe Swepson comes in and they have the three spinners.
So India went three spinners.
To match it. But then I guess you're going to out India in India?
Probably not.
No. So
and Scott Boland absolutely does not deserve on his performance to be dropped for the next test. But it may be a bit of a horses for courses.
Exactly.
Kind of
and I think if it's going to turn, maybe you get Swepson in there with that bowl at the other, spin at the other direction. And you've got Cam Green covering as your extra pace, who bowls about the same sort of pace as Boland anyway. I kind of can see that. I can see that.
Actually,
I could see that maybe is the plan going forward. And then, you have to see who can play the spin the best. And we know that's going to be India. So I don't see how we can win it that way. I don't see picking, dropping Boland, picking Stark makes sense, because he's got the pace, but maybe his biggest weapons is probably a bit of extra bounce as well. And the pitchers aren't going to really give it to him. So I can't see picking Stark either. I feel like if anything, it's, we're going to have to try and spin our way to victory.
I wonder the tiebreaker between Swepson and Agar, does it come down to the fact that Agar can bat and India bat to 9?
True.
And
got to bat deep as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be, you pick Agar as your third spinner
because of the fact that he can bat. I feel for
Jadeja and
when they named that 11, I actually felt bad for Mitch Swepson, considering he had to go to Pakistan and bowl on roads, and that was difficult in early 2022, and then didn't disappoint by any means in Sri Lanka.
But is he just Stuart McGill, bro?
He might. Well, Stewie McGill has 200 Test wickets, the old sweet prince. So I'm sure he'd love to be Stuart McGrill. Yeah, McGrill. Stuart Bear McGrills.
Yeah.
Not
these days.
But it's an interesting one with Swepson, isn't it? That he's got all that talent. He's just, I don't know if it's opportunity or what the go is, but I just don't know if he's going to play a heap of Test cricket. I hope he does for the bloke.
Yeah.
The fact that I think Australia needs a strong leg spinner. We grew up in the Shane Warne, rest in peace era.
But I think we just got stuck in this place. Like, if we go back to it and go, well, we want to pick two spinners and we want it to go either way. You go, well, Nathan Lyon really didn't perform in this, but we can't drop Nathan Lyon because he's Nathan Lyon.
No, of course not.
Exactly.
Of course not.
And he's like, well, we can't drop Todd Murphy. He just took 7. He was the only reason we were moving. So I think they're kind of stuck in that. And you have to stick probably by Cummins as well. Like, he's the captain. You can't drop him even if he's underperforming in India. That's just unthinkable. And the same question gets asked on Davey Warner there. Just that, maybe that, and you put Head in opener, and I was like,
I don't think that will happen. The Australian media would love that rhetoric because David Warner is, for some reason, the most hated man by the Australian media down here. I think
he went to Bunnings once. That's the only reason.
Well, and his
Get a bit of
wife,
sandbag,
his
please.
wife is a strong woman that speaks on his behalf occasionally.
Yeah.
That's why the media and the nuffies in the comments like to get stuck into Dave Warner. They tend to forget the fact that he's one of Australia's best openers of all time.
Yes, and he did score 200 not too long ago. So he's been up and down, and
Obviously completely unproven in India, and that's one of the, sort of perennial monkeys on his back.
And I think one of the other things is, like, you look at the Usman and Warner, they felt like they maybe went too hard after the spinners early and kind of not throw the wicket away, but got done, maybe trying to be too aggressive. And then the middle order just couldn't get their front foot out of the way, and we're just getting LBW left, right, centre. I think we had 5 in that second innings. So yeah, and I don't know. There's a few questions here. Line average is 34 on the subcontinent. Keep that ready to get that. Maybe he doesn't get enough out of the pitches to turn it.
Yeah,
and
again, that's the nature of cricket, isn't it? Like we said before, all of our batsmen stink in the subcontinent that aren't named Steve Smith.
It looks like Swepson's going to be going home because he's going to have a child.
Kid.
So
Matt Kuhneman.
So that might that's an that's switches it up a bit, but maybe pushes Agar into that thinking, like you said there. What made Australia lose to India? And I think we covered that.
We can't play spin.
I don't think
we haven't been able to do it for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fear of the spin or fear of they got them out. And I think we covered it, like they were being aggressive, maybe too aggressive.
Yeah, but maybe that is fear. Males wouldn't be ultra aggressive to hide some kind of inward fear, would they?
True.
Would they not?
Well, and I think,
or am I just speaking for myself?
Yes. I think
/ every male that's ever been born.
I think Australia's usual strategy of playing against spin is try to hit the spinners out, like you try and go after them.
The commentators were saying that. They're like, they look at them to try and be aggressive here and get on top, and it just wasn't working.
But I don't think it's going to work anyway, because India's just going to keep bowling 3 spinners at you. You're not going to hit them out of the side. They're just going to keep going. Cool. That's just, you're giving me more options. I'll eventually get one to turn off this ranked deck, and you will miss it completely. And
that's part of the problem. Like some of those deliveries, like some would turn, some would just skid on. Like you can't play. You have to be aggressive. You have to sort of try and hit it as early as possible, and you just can't.
Yeah, but I mean, like not coming down and not trying to hit everything for 4s and 6s. Like it's working. It's trying to. I think be more, because what I think Usman got 10 for 7 in the last one. Like you'd see he was being really aggressive in that second innings.
10 off 7.
Yes, sorry.
I was like, Usman,
clean him up.
That was my figures in the nets in year 4.
I think it's
allegedly.
Instead of trying to hit them out of the park, is what I'm getting at. It's just like playing the spin and trying to move it around a bit more.
Usman had 5 off 9.
Sorry.
That's pretty much the same shit.
Well, I guess, and maybe, credit Davey Warner there. He got through 41 only for 10 before he, and of course, got LBW. But maybe that's the way you got to play it. You got to play it like Pujara in this one, and
you have to play. You have to play it like who scored runs in this? Rohit Sharma. You see him use his feet and say, "Hey, Nathan Lyon, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to use my feet and put you over mid on early on and set the precedent." I think, the Aussies were probably trying to emulate that. They maybe overswept a little bit as well. You could, obviously
comes to mind.
Yeah, and you think back to how did Matthew Hayden have success in India? He was a big proponent of sweeping every fucking ball that a spinner bowls. But I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers other than pick Travis Head.
Yeah, I think Rohit Sharma is a good one to talk about, because that might give the Australians a little bit of confidence, because besides him, that middle order for India didn't really score anything.
100%, yeah.
Before they got into, the all-rounders, we'll call them, which really put the knife in the back of the
That was the difference that, like, look, we didn't bat well, but the difference in the game was Jadoo and Patel going out and having 120 run partnership for the fucking 8th wicket. What was it? 240 to 328.
Because we were
100 run partnership.
Because we were comparable. I think they were. They were like 140 with 4 down at one point, and I was like, well, we're kind of in the same sort of spot. But then, we just couldn't get those guys out in the back end.
No, I like it. If you want to look at silver linings and being positive, the boys should be saying, if we get Sharma out and it can work out the enigma that is Jadu, because we'll talk about him in a second. The rest of their top order did not do a whole lot.
Yeah,
and Virat Kohli is under some sort of pressure to score some red ball runs.
Yeah, especially when he gets out, because they've got 2 debutants in the team. And I guess let's talk about India. We'll switch you over here. The India selections, they've picked 2 debutants.
In Sky and Bharat. Obviously, we've seen a lot of Surya Kumar Yadav in following the IPL, Indian
I believe he's the
white ball
T20
cricket.
number 1 player in the world at the moment.
Excellent white ball cricket. The question was, would Shubman Gill get a run in the middle order, or would they open with Shubman Gill and put KL Rahul somewhere else? Misses out.
Yep.
A lot of pressure on a 30-something-year-old white ball specialist to come in and make runs. Although the way that he plays in white ball cricket, you can understand the selection. Interesting, and I'd love to hear any opinion from our Indian friends in the comments on Sky's selection, and is he a viable red ball cricketer?
I wonder if they thought, because we bat so deep anyway, like, hey, if he can come out and get 100 off 50, like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Or if he gets 0, it doesn't matter, because we can still bat. We still got guys that come out that can help us out.
It seems like a lot of test teams these days like to have someone that bats 5 or 6 and can just fucking turn it on.
Yeah.
Obviously, no Rishabh Pant in this test match. Does Sky...
Did see him walking during the week.
Which is great.
We should probably cover that as well.
Horrific accident and good to see him on the mend. Maybe, that they've gone with Bharat, who isn't a white ball
elite hitter like that,
specialist. Maybe they bring in Sky to have that sort of Rishabh Pant effect. Yeah. And then Bharat, admittedly, don't really know too much about him. I thought Ishan Kishan was going to get the gloves in this one. Hand on my heart, don't watch the Ranji Trophy day in and day out. So, again, would love to know a little bit more about Bharat. Wasn't really needed with the bat in this one. But
luckily, the guys around him did a solid job and kept him going.
Let's talk about Jadu. He's a fucking freak. He hasn't played cricket for 6 months.
Interesting. Did you expect them to pick 3 spinners, like to add Patel into this?
Yeah, I
did it make more sense because his Bumrah's injured, isn't he?
Yeah, so Bumrah's unavailable. I thought that they would go 3 spinners because 2 of these 3 spinners bat like fucking well. Well, actually, all of them
three
really work.
Ashwin was the night watchman, and he wanted to be.
They all bat like legends. So look at their spinners. Ashwin has 4 Test hundreds. Jadu has 5. And do you know who has a better Test average in the last 24 months out of Joe Root and Ravi Jadeja?
Probably Jadeja.
Yeah, given the setup and the conversation, etc. So he's the bloke's averaging like 49 over the last few years. He can just turn a match on its head, and they've just speaks volumes to where India is at as a cricketing nation. They've got like a clone in Akshar Patel. Yeah. That was the difference in this Test match.
Oh, big time.
Their partnership, their ability to go, if we can skittle them for 260 and we're only, 100 odd behind, they've got to bat last, maybe we're in this fuck. Fuck.
It was really interesting how they went with the hot hand as well. Like Jadeja and Patel did most of the bowling in the first innings, and Ashwin did more in the second. Whether that was, a bit of the pitch management as well. They thought Ashwin would, save him a little bit, and he will bowl him more on later in the Test match, knowing that he could do a job against the Australians. But it was, they're effective from all of it. I think what was the record that Jadeja got? He fastest to 250 or something. He needed 3 wickets, and he got the last 3 against in the second innings. I feel like it was 250
in terms of games played or something. Like
yes, faster than 250 wickets, maybe for India, but. He got what he needed the last 3 of the Australians in the second innings. But I don't think we can talk much more about it. I think they're on the selections. Like I think they're in the end. They've picked a really, really dominant team for the conditions that they play at. So, I guess the only caveat is there is maybe a weakness in that middle order, and maybe that's where the Australians can can break it, but of course they got to get through the captain first, and then try to tie up these good spinners / all rounders now.
I've got my fingers and every other thing that I can crossing that. Yeah, we can take advantage of that perhaps questionable middle order.
Yeah, because there was a question there about our predictions. We were hoping for a gentleman's kind of result, and after
I think I said 2-1. I think was my prediction to India, and I think I messaged you boys saying, "Yeah, get the broom out. This is looking like this is looking sweepy." But there's 3 tests to go. There's going to be different conditions. It's going to be a very different Australian team.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that in our last podcast. Is this first test might have been a bit of a test and trial for some of the stuff they were, in the conditions. Some stuff worked, Todd Murphy. Some stuff didn't work, and then we'll get there once the guys are healthy, come back for the second test, and that'll be, I guess, more of what their game plan will be going forward. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and who they select in that one. But outside of that, the Indian team dominated us. Ravi Ashwin got 450 wickets as well, going 9th all time.
Yeah, so he's just behind Lyon, so they'll have a little bit of a head-to-head battle, and then Courtney Walsh is a long way ahead of them. So it's going to sort of depend on how much longer those two blokes have in their careers. They're spinners, the body doesn't break down that early for spin bowlers, so probably expect one, if not both of them, to overtake Courtney Walsh and perhaps go top 5 of all time.
Spam.
Smith to Jadeja, you are my match winner. I won't let you down.
He did roll some tasty balls to Smith to get him out at the end of that innings as well. So
yes.
I did want to mention, I guess the last thing we would cover, Vaso or Voltaren thoughts?
Look, what Jadu should have done is if he had a sore finger, put that Voltaren gel on in between overs, or just not when you have the ball in your hand and you're bowling.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes it look a little bit suspicious.
Yes.
Very suspicious.
So he's, of course, been fined 25% of his match fee and gets a demerit. I'm not sure how many demerit points you get, but he's got 1 demerit point added. I think you covered it. Watching the video, you can see his fingers sticking out. It's off the ball and he's rubbing on it, putting the cream, whatever cream it was, on it, because, he was turning up a storm. He was writing fire with that finger. But, he still had the ball in his hand, maybe a little bit rubs off. Yeah, it asked too much questions, I think it was the main thing. If, like you said, he told the umpire what he's doing, even give the ball to the umpire, and done it and like it's all good, and then off you go, then there's no issue. So I think it was more that he did it in the wrong way. It didn't look overly too bad. It was more
possibly optics than cheating per se.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, Aussies, sandpapers. Can we even say anything ever again in the world of cricket? Probably. Cheating's
one day.
So, how they say prostitution is the world's oldest profession. I think cheating at sport or any sort of male competitive endeavour probably is second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. One day someone will get the angle grinder out and do a real job on that ball, and then off we go.
Hey, Cam Brancroft, are you happy to see me, or is that an angle grinder in your pocket? Poor fella. All right, that'll wrap up our India-Australia chat. Looking forward to this second test. A little bit scared, a little bit nervous.
Friday for us?
Yeah, I think Friday. How good's the viewing time? I think we alluded to
beautiful.
it. Oh, it's elite. It's so elite. If England and South Africa and the rest of you guys that live, Greenwich Meridian time, whatever you've fucking called, if you want to move your countries like 6 hours east, that would be great for our work.
It's probably not a good idea to do that at the moment if you work out the geography and moving them across, send them east across Europe.
Russia and China, is that what you're getting at?
Yes, exactly. Let's not do that at the moment.
Yeah, anyways.
Just play your cricket where we want it.
Speaking of great viewing time, the Big Bash League has wrapped up. The Perth Scorchers, 5 times champions with their win against the Brisbane Heat. I thought the Sixers would get the job done, but the Heat go through.
Sixers with no Steve Smith, different beast.
Very different, and that's the talking point of the few minutes that we have allotted to talk about BBL, is how much better is it when you guys like Steve Smith are playing, and this whole let's revive the BBL. We'll have a draft. Oh, by the way, they're going to play 4 games and fuck off to Pakistan and no, not Pakistan, Emirates and South Africa. They need to get on top of that. I'm glad that next year the BBL is going to be shorter. You can see the interest. There's 55,000 people there at Optus Stadium for the big one. And we've got to talk, I suppose, about the Perth Scorchers. They've won nearly half of the BBL titles. Dynasty, and some might say.
Did the Bison end up playing in any of this? I don't think he did.
No,
so,
no.
One of their best white ball players didn't even play most of the tournament. Is pretty spectacular. And I think you've got the question there of dynasty. They've been pretty dominant. I don't know. Is it they play well enough? They get that home field advantage for the final, and is that the difference?
Bit of a fortress over there.
You know what it is as well. No reliance on test players and internationals.
Yeah, they've got a very consistent team all the way through the season.
Exactly. So I think that's been a big measure of their success is they're going to go, okay, so Aaron Hardy and Ashton Turner and Jason Berendorf and the like are going to play this whole tournament and they're not going to fuck off elsewhere, and we've got this nice team culture and we're going to win bulk BBLs. And look, if it's not broke, don't fix it, because the Scorchers are doing a bit in the BBL. That is for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think hopefully the other teams kind of maybe take notice. Maybe that's where the game needs to grow, and maybe focus inwards, not outwards, as much as they have in the past. Which is going to, of course, be challenging, but you don't want to end up being the shield.
Yeah. Rugby.
Rugby's a good one.
Quick run through who did what this BBL. Aaron Hardy actually top scored for the whole tournament with 460, followed by Matt Short, Josh Inglis, Aaron Finch. Let's talk quickly about Aaron Finch. He has officially retired from all formats. Probably the writing on the wall for quite some time. I wouldn't mind our amnesic public to recognise that he's probably arguably the best T20 player ever to play for Australia. So let's focus a little bit on that, and less on the last 18 months of, probably couldn't really get it off the square.
2010 to 2020, no doubt. So, he's starting to fade in the back of career, and we talked about it a lot. He wanted to get to the last World Cup. Did that, got through the World Cup. We didn't do too great, but that was, it's expected. I think kind of a nice period as well just before Test cricket's kind of kicking off and everyone's interested in that, and the BPL's kind of finishing it off. It's just a nice bit to end his career, maybe not blow it up with too much hoopla as well. He's just happy, I've done international cricket, and I think it's excellent. I think we talked about it. You can't doubt his quality of opening for Australia.
When he was on, he was so good. I think he has 2 of the top 5 highest scores in a single game in T20 internationals. That 150 odd against England comes to mind. I think he scored 170. Might have been against Zimbabwe, but that's all good. So kudos on an excellent career. Be interesting to see what he does moving forward. Does he go back down to Geelong and just go score bulk runs in grade cricket? He seems like a bit of a cool character. So
it was international cricket, so I think he could.
He'll play probably BBL for
the next decade. Yeah. If not, I think he could roll straight into a coaching role as well. It wouldn't surprise me if he did that too.
Monks, do you know how to boot someone from a chat? or you might have to do it off yours. Because ABCD, you're gone, dude. That's 3 warnings. The second one was in my head, but you're out of here. You're out of here.
There was a good question there on Hardy and Matt Short. Should they be in the Australian white ball team?
I don't think just yet. No,
banging down the door.
Yeah,
and especially some of the guys maybe getting a little bit older. You got also Steve Smith. He's struggled to make that squad, and after his cameo of a month, probably kind of pushed his case that maybe he should be in there.
Yeah, I think both of them are a while off. I reckon Hardy's probably closer than Matt Short, given that our ability to score quick runs in the middle order, that's why Tim David essentially came into the Australian white ball scene, has been underwhelming over the last few years. I just think there's probably a few too many names ahead of both of those blokes.
Yeah. I think Matt Short's been pretty consistent.
Very consistent.
And
he's
scored
had a
really
great
well.
BBL.
I think he's had the good BBL the last 3 or 4.
Yep.
I think the problem is just the guys in front of him have locked it down.
Yeah. So I think probably both are whiles off. Maybe Hardy in T20. But probably need to string that kind of form together for a few more years.
Yes, I agree. AB medal, Alan Border medal.
Interesting one. Davey Warner getting the ODI Player of the Year, and numbers may have suggested that others may have been more deserving. Again, playing into that "we hate David Warner" rhetoric that gets spat out by our media.
Yes, definitely continuing on form as well. So, but Davey's been good. I don't think we can cover and doubt that anymore. What's the award that Usman won?
He won Test Player of the Year,
which is not too bad as well.
Mate, what did he make? 1,100 runs, over 1,000 runs in the year. Really vindicated the selectors in coming back into that side, and then the big one. We'll talk about if world cricket's anything to go off. Marcus Stoinis getting the T20 International Player of the Year. Lance Morris getting the Young Player of the Year. Michael Neser getting the Male Domestic Player of the Year. And then the GOAT, since Brabham, Steve Smith.
Got the big award.
Getting the big one. I think
Is that his second or third?
I think third.
It was there. It was in the list.
It's just
1, 2,
1,
3,
2,
4.
4. And no one's ever won 5, have they?
no. He ties with
Clark and Ponting?
Yeah, Ponting's.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I put him in timeout. It's all good.
Oh, he's timed out. It's like 300 seconds, 5 minutes. You're going to be an absolute peanut on the YouTube comments, and you just get 5 minutes. Go sit in the corner, cool off for a second there. ABCD, practice your fucking ABCDs, and maybe a little bit of sentence structure. A bit of grammar. That'd be nice.
A bit rich coming from us, but anyway.
Oh, that's something that I nitpick about a little bit sometimes.
True. We can write the word. We can't speak it.
Speaking for yourself. All right. England is playing South Africa, white ball at the moment. Jofra Archer is back. He looks fucking good.
How's his cricket?
Also good. I like it. Yes, he is a beautiful chocolate man.
Yes.
Beautiful chocolate man. They're very, very good at white ball cricket. It's going to be interesting. Fuck, we've got a big year, don't we? We've got India into the Ashes, into the World Cup. Yep. They'll be scary. They will be scary in terms of white ball cricket. Again, I think it's in India, so can they perform in the subcontinent? That's probably the big question. And then just a bit of fun, a bit of a story, because the West Indies are playing Zimbabwe, and does anyone give 2 fucks about that? No is probably the answer to that question, that rhetorical question that I answered.
There's probably only 2 batsmen to be interested in, but you've got the note there. We'll get that out in a minute, though.
Well, Gary Balance, you might remember him, coming down here and getting absolutely frazzled, I think is the word, by our quicks.
Barbecued.
A few Ashes ago. He's from Zimbabwe. England like to steal players, etc. So he's gone back and played for Zimbabwe and actually turned up in this one. So 8 years between Test tons. He bridged the gap between Shiv Narayan and I think it's Tagarine, or as I like to say, Tangerine, Chanderpaul. He turned up in this one, and the younger Chanderpaul,
Yep.
pretty handy. is pretty handy.
Did he get double ton?
I think he got 200. Yep, I think he got 200. And he's the first West Indian opener outside of Craig Braithwaite to score a ton in 10 years.
Yeah, and didn't Braithwaite ton up in this as well?
Yeah,
I think they
had a huge partnership. Yeah. I think it was top 10 all time kind of partnership. So very well done there. Who won the game? Who knows? I actually don't know. Yeah. It's Zimbabwe and the West Indies. But a nice little bit of news there for West Indian cricket. We speak about it a little bit on this podcast. Obviously, terrorised teams in the 80s and early 90s. So a little bit of talent coming through for them. It's good, I think, for world cricket.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, boys. Tomorrow is the biggest event in world sport. That leads us into... All right. The Super Bowl happens tomorrow. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs. There's an MVP curse, boys.
It's a big curse as well.
The last 9 guys that won the MVP who have played in the Super Bowl have lost.
Well, no MVPs won a Super Bowl since 1999.
Yep.
It's another way of saying what I just said.
Yes.
What are our thoughts around this game? We've got a really well-rounded team in the Philadelphia Eagles. Have a great defense. Have the ability to pass and run the ball very well. Up against probably this generation's Tom Brady in Patrick Mahomes. This is 5 years of his career where he has been to the AFC Championship game or further.
Yep. This is his third Super Bowl.
Third Super Bowl, has won one. So he's
third MVP or second MVP?
He's currently at 500. Monks, I'm sure we'll take that one up. I think it's 2.
It's definitely 2.
I think it's 2.
I just can't remember if he had a third one or not. But
it's 2.
Let's go through the position groups. And I think if you want line play, in the trenches, these are 2 of the best teams and on both sides of the ball.
Does Philly have a slight edge?
Maybe slight, but I think they're comparable. Because you remember, yes, maybe their offensive line is slightly better than, say, Kansas City's defensive line is, but Chris Jones is, the equalizer and all of that. Kansas City's offensive line has been really good and kind of they've retooled that offensive line within like 18 months kind of thing. And they're playing at elite football. But then the Eagles' defensive line is also really good, anchored there by Jordan Davis. So, and they've got some good pass rushes as well. Maybe that's a bit of the difference. They may have a better pass rush overall.
Hassan Reddick, how good has he been?
Yep. That's definitely the name. He's been elite for them. If you then go back, quarterbacks, the better pure passer you can't deny is Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts offers you more, though, with his legs.
And in today's game, is that maybe more important? I hate to say it. Like I hate to say, even suggest that Jalen Hurts might be a more valuable asset, but given their scheme and their offensive line strength, and look, put it like this: if you're within 5 and you're in the red zone and you're trying to punch it in, who would you rather getting the ball? I think it's Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Which quarterback complements the team better? Makes it a well-rounded team.
Yes, that is a very good question, and that probably goes back to that defensive line of what job they will have to do, to force Jalen to stay put. That's going to be one of the big challenges. One of the big outcomes from this game will be what they can do with Jalen and whether they can keep him, essentially in the pocket to keep that stereotypical kind of narrative going. Running backs are probably comparable, maybe a slight edge to the Eagles with a more known veteran, but then Isaiah Pacheco's been good, and they just took CEH off injured reserve. I think he's So I'm not sure how much he'll get involved. I think they kind of will go with more with the rookie and with
Jerick McKinnon.
McKinnon, who's
been a freak catching the ball, scored bulk touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the difference is probably in the wide receiver group.
A lot of people like to say that Philly,
but then with
AJ Brown and with Devonta Smith. Outclasses Kansas City.
But the great equaliser is Kels. It is the Kels Bowl, of course, with the two brothers. Funny, they have a third brother as well. So very Manning family like of them.
That's the Wars had a third brother as well.
Yes.
Shout out to don't know your first name, War.
Yes. So
probably a way better cricketer than anyone that we've ever met.
So Kels is probably the could go down as the best tight end of all time.
He's on that on that trajectory, isn't he?
Yeah. Goddard as a comparison is serviceable and is a good tight end, but he's not Kels. Maybe that's where the difference is, and they kind of line up. Other than that, I think on the defense, maybe the back end for the Eagles is better than Kansas City's.
I've got a feeling across the board their defense is better.
Yeah.
And does defense win championships? You know,
their front seven, their second line as well, their linebackers, I'd probably give the edge there to the Eagles too.
And that speaks into that the last 9 MVPs haven't won the Super Bowl. Yeah. What side of the ball did those last 9 MVPs play on?
Yes, they're mostly quarterbacks or offensive guys. So
they're all quarterbacks or running backs.
Yeah.
So does that sort of play into a great defense beats a great offense?
Yeah, and that's the question. How far have they carried? Like, how far has Mahomes been able to put this team on his back and carry them further? And now they're running into the more complete team, as we're talking about, in the Eagles here, and they're not going to be able to get the job done. Other thing not in their favour is the other curse, Rocky Balboa curse. The Kansas City fans couldn't resist, and they put their jersey on the statue, which hasn't bowled well for every team that's played the Eagles in this playoff so far.
Other teams have done it too.
Yeah, 49ers, of course, was the other classic one, but yes.
Yo, Adrian curse. Yo, Adrian.
The team talking the most shit has lost in most cases in this playoffs series. So
it's funny that CTE's only been sort of discovered in the last 10 years, and Rocky was talking like that in the 70s.
Yeah. No, he's punch drunk, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Different.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What we call PTSD now used to be shell shock. Oh, he's gone to the war and he fought against those what do they call them, Krauses, and he came back and he's a bit shell shocked. Yeah, you fucked him for life. Yes. PTSD. Interesting. Yo, Adrian. All right.
Do we? Well, what's our predictions? Who do we think after?
This is hard. You go first.
Well, I'm from the AFC West, so no one from our division can win anything, so I've got to go with the Eagles, and I would probably lean a little bit towards the Eagles for the more complete team in this one.
I'm going to go Kansas City, A, because I like disagreeing with you. B, I think that all of the conjecture around MVPs and defenses and offenses and the way that it should be, I think sport is the great unknown, and I think the unusual happens. The fact that Philadelphia is in this Super Bowl is unusual. No one really sort of suspected that at the start of the year. I'm going to go Kansas City, and the Mahomes dynasty keeps rolling. Although I don't know, I don't think I will put money on Kansas City. I think I might make a little bit of a multi, with
Scorers.
Yeah, scorers.
Don't go the head-to-head.
Got to throw Kelsey.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably AJ Brown as well.
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco maybe.
Yeah, there you go. There's your multi. That's 4.
Gambling makes sports fun.
No. Well, I think they're expecting something ridiculous of money to be bet on the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, because they've only sort of come around in the last few years with being able to bet on your phone, DraftKings, etc.
I feel like it was billions of dollars, but I don't remember how much. Yes.
Yeah, look, it wouldn't surprise.
Yeah.
You'd have a couple people putting on a couple million.
Yeah, well, if the
minimum,
if the mattress maker dude's putting 100 mil on someone to win a game, so, it helps pump up those numbers pretty quickly.
Strange country, isn't it? We love their sport, but I think culturally just can't quite apprehend what it's like to be an American. Yeah, it's like sports gambling.
Just 100%.
Yeah, the Drake meme. It's betting on your phone. No. AR-15. Yeah. Like, well, all right. Well, each to their own, I suppose. All right, that was a bit of a tangent. Monks, what do you reckon?
So just quickly going back to your MVP chat. So that's Patty Mahomes' second MVP.
Okay, cool.
He will be the 7th MVP to win a Super Bowl.
Ever?
So back in the day, it used to happen. That's what that would suggest. But for the last 20 years, it hasn't happened.
Yeah. So that's it. Let alone the long drought between MVP winning, the fact that only 7 MVPs have won a Super Bowl in the history of NFL Super Bowl era is quite a feat as well. So Emmitt Smith is the only non-quarterback to win it. And then other than him, we've got Bart Starr. Yep. Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, Steve Young, and then Kurt Warner obviously being the last one. So very much that
double, yeah.
Yeah, that early sort of 70s, 80s period was where you saw it happen.
Did Terry Bradshaw do a few movies? I feel like he's in a few movies.
He would have definitely had cameos.
Google that right now.
He's been doing a lot of TV work since then, of course.
Nah, I reckon he's in movies.
I think Monks hits it. He's done a heap of cameos. I definitely know that much.
Yeah.
He's not starring role, of course.
No. Like, he's not fucking Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he was the face of the Steelers. Like,
I reckon he had a few, like more than cameos, like a bit more of a speaking role kind of.
Anything there, Jimmy?
He's put out 6 singles.
No movies?
Media. No,
So he's got a fucking.
Oh wait, hang on. TV and film.
Yeah. See,
words, no tables.
No spreadsheets, bro.
Me fail English. That's how impossible.
Nothing jumps out. He has made a heap of cameo appearances, a lot of TV work. I can't see any movie.
Do your own research, guys. There's a bit
That's
there.
it.
There's a bit there.
There's a bit there.
Not what I was thinking.
No.
Like robbed of an Oscar.
He has received a star on the Hollywood's Walk of Fame.
Boom.
He's been on.
First NFL player to do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think Strahan got his. Michael Strahan got his during the week as well. Because of their they've been on network TV forever covering the NFL. So there you go.
In terms of Super Bowl,
bigger winner.
Yeah, gun to your head.
gun to my head. Eagles, but would fully anticipate Mahomes to just
he clearly likes me better.
Crazy
than
shit.
So.
That's understandable.
No,
we kid.
Yeah.
Everything kind of points in that direction, doesn't it? But just that Andy Reid, Kansas City offense, I don't know.
Well, you got to remember it's a revenge game here for Andy Reid as well.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of history between both these teams,
isn't there? Isn't
with their coaching staffs and overlapping and the players, etc. So it's an interesting game.
Yeah,
and I'm going to be a really boring sports analyst, in inverted commas, and just say I really want to see a close game that's entertaining and it goes down to it. And
I want to see it.
And my multi gets up.
Yeah, I want to see another Rams Chiefs game. That's what I want to see. I'm going to score 100 points. Let's go.
I was going to say close game, 100 points. What's your over unders?
What's the actual, can we get some actual odds? Because
I think the
I think it would have to be 56, 58 maybe.
Well, I think it might even be
with those defenses.
Maybe 50. That's the thing with those defenses. That's the difference.
But traditionally, Super Bowls aren't super high scoring.
Not at all.
So
it's usually because the teams with good defenses have gotten this far.
I can't believe I haven't looked at this. I've got to put a punt on. 50, it's 50 and a half.
50 and a half. Yep.
Yeah. That, like I said, I know that doesn't surprise me with Super Bowl and those defenses going in there.
So other ones there. So
what's that?
Eagles are favourite head to head, $1.82 to $1.99.
Value on both.
The line 1.5. So very close game there. Travis Kelsey, depending who you talk to, $8 first touchdown scorer.
Pretty sure Travis said it was Kels, so we'll go with the Kels family.
I hate Kelsey because you're white.
Jason says Kelsey, I think.
Yeah, so they can't work it.
Family doesn't know.
I think they're split 50-50. Yeah. Anytime scorers, Travis $1.80. Pachero is
$1.90. You got
$1.90. Yeah, I might need to take them off actually. Jalen Hurts $2. Pachero is $2.55 as well. So
interesting.
Yeah,
there's no pen line around.
Some
should draw a lightning bolt in his head.
Harry Potter. Yeah. Todd Murphy.
Maybe.
Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts.
That's it.
Harry's
I had to wear the glasses today for Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah. He looks like Vittori as well.
Yeah,
who's in the bowling coaching stuff as well. It's so funny.
But Vittori was left. He's right. Yeah. He's Aussie, so he's a good bloke. By default, Kiwi shit bloke. Although beautiful country. And
have you seen his beard? lush.
Unbelievable. Have you heard their national anthem? It makes me cry. Like, the 4 games of rugby that I've ever watched in my life and their fucking national anthem comes on, I'm like, oh, God, defend New Zealand. It's fucking beautiful. Anyways.
Awards. So we covered the MVP. I don't think Jalen was too hard done by. I think Mahomes got 49 of the 50-odd votes. Or did 48. I think Hurts got 1, and did Jefferson get 1? Maybe. And
do you think it should have been that one-sided?
I think it's just that's how they kind of the voting goes. With I think the only vote that really kind of got spread out was the comeback player of the vote. The rest of them was kind of clear cut. They just picked the dude that they think's going to win. I believe there was like a nice vote for the staffer that helped save Hamlin's life as well. He got an MVP vote.
That's good.
And he was there at the award ceremony, which is a big moment as well. So it was very good to see. Out of that, Offensive Player of the Year award, I think we said Jefferson would get it.
Yep.
Also got Defensive Player of the Year. We thought that would happen as well. The Jets guys got both Rookies of the Year, and I think we were leaning...
Jet sweep.
Jet sweep. I think we were leaning the other way that maybe Brock Purdy might nick the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and maybe Hutchinson would get Defensive Rookie of the Year. But not unsurprised, the New Yorkers got those ones. And
how good for New York Jets fans? Admittedly, a shit show of a franchise for
best draft
for the last 10 years, and they've drafted out of their ass. And wasn't it like half of the Rookies of the Week were Jets players this year? Something along those lines. Might have been 60%.
Yeah.
Imagine how good they're going to be when Aaron Rodgers is playing for them.
Yeah, that's going to lead into our next discussion.
I was going to say, imagine the kind of team they're going to have when they trade both of those players away.
Yep. For
a washing machine. A la semi-pro.
Yeah.
Good movie.
The other ones there, Geno Smith was comeback player of the year.
No surprise.
Beating out CMC and Barkley, but I guess that was good. Coach of the year. With the Giants head coach, Brian, is it DeBoll?
I think it's DeBoll. That's maybe the one that was a little bit interesting.
Because I looked at the votes, because he was clear. Shanahan got a bunch, and then the Eagles coach, Nick, only got 6 or something. I thought he was probably a bit...
I thought Sirianni, might have had a shout there.
Outdone with the way his team has played this year. So, so
DeBoll had 123 total votes. Shanahan 100. Doug Peterson 75, and then a big drop off to Sean McDermott 48 and Sirianni 45.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting that like even Shanahan coming second in that. Like you look at that 49ers team at the start of the year and you're like, you're pretty fucking good, and you're throwing CMC on there. Like,
true,
is that the way the coach of the year should work? But he also based off your roster and what you do with your roster.
Yeah, I think it's probably how far you take it. That's why Doug Peterson's in there, because they were 2-6 and then
no one expected anything.
I think Shanahan gets it because he's had three different quarterbacks. Dan Campbell getting a vote there is also not too bad. Not unsurprised, like the Giants did play pretty well, and again, maybe some New York bias there. But head coach of the year. Ryans was the assistant coach of the year, and also now the Houston Texans head coach. So nothing too out of the ordinary there. And Dak Prescott did win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. What else?
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. We covered Barber. We've said Revis made it in. Joe Thomas and Zach Thomas.
Double Thomas.
And then DeMarcus Ware was the last of the players.
I don't think we're there to go through
and
this.
The guys, the seniors and the coaches.
Congratulations.
I don't recognise half of those names.
You want to talk about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, we'll cover head coaches quickly. Sean Payton's now Broncos head coach.
Oh, how do you feel about that as a Broncos fan?
Of the options, I think that I'm very happy. Yes, we gave up some picks to make the job happen, but Sean Payton's record has been elite for the offensive side of the ball, and that's where Denver has struggled since Peyton Manning retired. So happily we'll take that, and hopefully he can fix Russ.
What was the news that he's banned Russ's coach or training?
He was asked a question in after his press conference by media about Russell's team being in the building because they were last year, and he says that the answer he gave was, "That's foreign to me. If they're on our coaching staff, they will be in the building." So essentially, if they're not on the coaching staff, if they're just Russell's hanging on honours, then no, they're like, you're coming into work, you come to work. Not unsurprising. We covered Frank Reich. The Colts don't have a head coach yet. I think they're leaning towards Jeff Saturday, and the Cards can't get a head coach because no one wants to work with Kyler Murray.
Interesting.
They literally have no one lined up at the moment, which is really concerning for them.
Colts should do Jeff Saturday. He seems like he took that role on pretty well.
Yeah, but then he only won the obligatory one game as the new head coach, and then didn't win anything after that. So
Colts have got more problems just head coach though.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. There's some rumors about Lamar Jackson maybe on the trade block because he wants the Deshaun Watson deal, and no one wants to give that much guaranteed money to anyone. So they, throw all the picks. They might want him to go there. But besides that, I guess Aaron Rodgers. You've got it there. Nathaniel Hackett is now the OC over at with the Jets. And the chat for when he went to Denver was, hey, that's a great kind of in to then potentially get Aaron Rodgers, and then in the end, Aaron Rodgers stayed put. But now over there in New York, there's a lot of connections there. They want to bring in a veteran quarterback to take on. If anything, it's kind of heating up as the Jets. Rodgers already said he's not going to the Raiders. It looks like Derek Carr's going to the Saints. He's already had multiple meetings with them.
Really? Wow.
And he has a no trade clause in his contract. So he's been whining and dining, but it looks like the Saints might be interested in him, which would be, I guess, good for Derek. But Rodgers is having his 4-day darkness, isolation retreat to think on what he wants to do. I guess it's whether I continue or not. And if I'm continuing, do I tell Green Bay I want to stay or I want to go? And then Green Bay makes the move. It's interesting.
If he leaves, I'm not going to be off him because he brought a Super Bowl to Green Bay. And, people can say, oh, well, with the talent and the MVP, should they have done more? I suppose it's a reasonable argument.
They need some wide receivers, bro.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be on him because he's a fucking weird operator.
He's a weird unit. That's good.
And I really like that in a game like American football where it's very, macho and how much do you bench and how much do you squat and what's your 40 time?
But also as well, it's very curated. Like the quarterback speak, the head coach
Scripted.
speak. Yeah, script. Yeah, have you read your script, bro? It's been a pretty good meme. So.
That's what it is. It's a meme.
It's a meme. Yeah.
Could you imagine? Like they can't keep a secret when there's a secret in politics. It leaks. It gets out like that. Yeah. So could you imagine having like 10, 20,000 people in on this big secret and it's all scripted?
Well, there's 3,000 plus players that then have to follow their script. And, the jokes
any contact sport.
Yeah, the jokes of like, man, I read my script. I got to blow my ACL this year. I was like,
So dumb. Dude, I believe in flat earth before I believe in that.
Yeah.
Have you flown around it? Anyways, what were we talking about? Rodgers. It's going to be interesting. The bloke's 39 years of age. You can tell that his body is not where Tom Brady's body was at 39 years of age.
Speaking of which, dude that also retired in between.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, he officially done that, submitted the paperwork, so he is officially retired. And by all accounts, it looks like he's done. I think they were only, what was it? The Dolphins may have been interesting, but after all, I think that's it. And you look at the guard that's started retire guys, the coach, the Pro Bowl and the Manning brothers. That generation of quarterback is coming to the end, and like he's talked about, now we've got the Lamar Jacksons, the Jalen Hurts, the Patrick Mahomes. Dudes are moving around a bit.
1990s,
Josh Allen as
1990s,
well.
The 80s boys are gone, and the 90s boys are running the show.
Because all the big ones, Rivers, Manning brothers, Manning, Roethlisberger, list goes on.
Yep.
Rodgers and probably Matty Ice are really the only ones left from that generation of quarterbacks.
Matt Ryan was the MVP of the NFL less than 5 years ago, and people just like to shit on him these days.
Yeah.
The way the Falcons have played, it's maybe understand.
Yeah, and didn't play too well with the Colts either.
No.
AJ?
4-day isolation. Let's see what he does. You think maybe Jets if he
continues,
comes back?
yeah.
Any other teams that you've
Jets or Packers? That's it.
Okay.
I don't think that. He's going to be out of quarterbacks. Like, would he go replace Tampa and replace Brady? Nah. Tampa Bay probably not where he needs to be. Maybe 49ers, but I don't think he wants. I don't think he'd.
He's from the area. He's a 49ers fan growing up, wasn't he?
That's the only other one I could think of.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if
The team that's got three good quarterbacks as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably they move on from Jimmy G. Depending on, we've got to talk about, I guess, Brock Purdy's elbow. He needs surgery on it. It's probably 6 months.
On a collateral.
Yeah.
Poor fella. Fuck, he was.
It's hard to win a football game when you have no quarterback. So.
Yeah. They got to go to the full string. What's his name? Josh Johnson. Have you seen?
He got concussed as well.
Have you seen his resume?
Oh yeah, he's played for every team.
He's floated around.
Journeyman, like dictionary journeyman. Josh Johnson in there.
Crazy
CMC was going to line up as quarterback. For,
I
for
think Juszczyk was their backup.
Harvard educated, switched on.
Crazy, but Brock Purdy went back out there and he said he could barely throw the ball 5 yards. So.
Look at fucking that. I'm going to say unders overs. That's 20 NFL teams. Are you going to count it?
No. 1, 2.
Don't forget the Sacramento Mountain Lions, of course.
And in that he also played for the San Francisco 49ers 4 times. So
fucking nuts. Keep going, bro.
Me or him.
Story of a journeyman, definitely.
Yeah.
Other news: AJ Green's retired.
Stellar career.
Yeah, really.
Never got the ring.
And injuries kind of really slowed it down in the back end. But one of the best deep threats to ever play the game, and was very, very dominant as well in that generation of wide receivers that came out.
Just a real inspiration for lanky men all around the fucking world. Obviously,
could run,
speed and strength and talent. Yeah, obviously all of that
Score
comes
touchdowns.
Into it. Yep. Good looking. Probably has a big dick. All the things that I don't have. However,
calves.
Anything else?
No, we're an hour in. We got to get some calf chat. There we go.
A stellar career. Was pivotal in that Bengals offense, mostly catching the ball from Carson Palmer, and a great career.
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess is NFL news. There's not much to else. A bit of rumors here and there. Some coaching stars will probably get sorted out next week after the Super Bowl when some of these guys are now available, which is I think where the cards are going. They might target one of the offensive coordinators, and I think the Philly Eagles offensive coordinator for that Cardinals job. And then what? We've got 2 weeks to the combine and then 2 months to draft, and then we start it all over again.
Might use this time just briefly to answer a few of these cricket questions. Is West Australia missing Cam Green in Sheffield Shield?
Can't say no to that.
Well, every Shield team missing the players that play for Australia? Yes. Probably. Cam Bancroft is closing to a well-deserved century. Good. Love that for him. Would love to see him play Test cricket once again. I don't see it happening anytime soon.
How old is he? Is he 28 now?
Monks, you can chase it up. I don't think he's quite 30.
Yeah. So
he's a scapegoat.
Yeah. He took the fall. Well, a bunch of them, a bunch of them did get punishment, but, as the one that did the act, labelled
do the crime, do the time.
Yeah, labelled un-Australian essentially.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's pretty, and on a young fella as well, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
He is 30.
He's 30.
Yeah. It's starting to, it's really, really hard.
Warner retirement looming, who knows?
Yes, also true. But then maybe Travis Head just raised up there. And
Pekovsky, if he can get on top of his health issues.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Righto. Let's talk about these jerseys that we've got here.
Oh, yes. Do I say the GOAT? Throw that question.
Curry sets, fires, puts it up. Bang!
Well, the leading scorer, I guess, not Curry.
The most points of all time now belongs to LeBron James, overtaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a record which stood for close to 40 years.
Yep.
Firstly,
he'll get 40,000.
He gets 40,000. Yep.
Easy.
Tick, tick, tick.
He has to play at least one more year to then wait for his sons to come out and then play a year with them. So
he's also the numbers that he's putting up are not considerably down from when he was in his peak.
No, they're comparable to some of his first years in the NBA.
Like actually comparable. Yeah. So
it's interesting.
Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for another few seasons.
Yeah, easy. And there's also that conversation about when does he become a role dude? Like, you could probably play another 5 years as a role guy if he really wanted to.
Tom Brady-esque.
Yeah.
Except
no. But,
the age I'm talking about.
Yeah. But, taking a step back as in and playing like as many minutes as he is and playing more of a role mentor there, which I think is kind of what he alludes to. Like, I want to play with my sons would be. It was like, I want to be more a role dude to them and, help instill the professional mindset into being the GOAT. Interesting kind of a chat from his sons, like, hey, they want to be number 1, 2, 3 in scorers, which would be crazy for a family legacy.
Long way ahead, boys. Long way ahead. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger. I actually never had that thought. But that's what I'm talking about. It's very, it's highly competitive to even become an NBA player, to let alone become the arguably greatest of all time. It's a long way. Let's talk just quickly about the Lakers. They're if it wasn't for LeBron James, they're dead last. They are so bad. We'll talk about trades in a second.
Yeah, they've kind of thrown the kitchen sink at the trade window.
Maybe that's in their favour. But if you're a Lakers fan, you should be praying to God or Allah or Buddha or Vishnu or whoever you pray to and thank them for LeBron James, because he has absolutely carried you through this dismal year.
Yeah. I just wanted to cover one point. I saw that a lot of racing kind of stick for LeBron is he's not a scorer, he's not a shooter. He's average. I think he's average on his average scoring. He's top 5. So which kind of destroys that theory anyway.
And you know what I've noticed in the few years of doing this podcast and sort of sifting through comments and what
Stephen A. Smith
and whatnot, people that like to sit in armchairs and not do anything with their life really like to criticise arguably some of the greatest athletes of all time. So maybe go fuck yourself. I don't like if you want to say Michael Jordan is a better basketballer than LeBron James, I'm not going to argue. argue. But if you're going to say,
we can have a good discussion on that.
Indeed, a good long healthy discussion with
points on both sides,
valid points raised. Like a debate, if you will. But for just people that just like to shit on him non-stop, we spoke about Stephen A. Smith a few weeks ago, and.
He hasn't fallen off. Like I don't get.
I
don't get it.
What world do you live in? What world do you live in where you can't appreciate the fact that he's definitely in the top 5 basketballers that ever lived?
Yeah,
and then if you want to have the discussion after that, play on.
Yeah,
he's got a better shooting percentage than Kobe and Jordan. Looking at that, so you can't shit on the bloke. It's good.
Don't like him. I don't like him. Do you see the teammates? It was very.
They were losing this match though, in a game they really needed to win.
They did. They lost. They lost to OKC. Good meme getting around. Cream sipping his whatever soft drink he was drinking. Thinking I didn't lose to the Thunder when I broke the record. Little bit of lols. As we alluded to, Lakers shit show outside of LeBron. I don't know. Look, we're not going to have the GOAT discussion right now, but.
That's a retirement consideration. Put the resumes up against each other.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of a few months ago when Messi wins a World Cup, and you go, "Well, he's not the GOAT because of that." But it's
recent rhetoric, like, "Hey, he's just broken the all-time scoring record."
Recency bias and notching the belt and that kind of chat comes into it.
Yeah, I can definitely see. If you had that conversation today, you go, "Yeah, he just broke the scoring record." Like no one. A 40-year-old record, like is he gonna stand for another 40 years?
Well, he's gonna go,
40 plus,
2,000 points past Kareem probably easily.
Easy.
So again,
of active players.
So look at that, 12,000 for KD.
Yeah,
12,000, and how good a basketballer is KD? Like, actively, no one's getting him.
No. Yeah.
And
No
it'd
way.
have to be a young fella as well. Like,
Even Giannis, he's like 16,000. Maybe he's halfway through his career. Like, Steph, I don't think he's getting that.
No.
you have to scroll down, keep going. Who's on a tear? No one's really on a tear there. Like longevity is part of it as well. Like health too. Like you look at
No
Curry
one's
and
shooting like.
I'm going to go
Clay
out
and things like.
I'll go out on a limb.
Years.
You can clip this. Played in 21 years' time. The person that breaks this record isn't born yet. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah. No names are jumping out there.
Yeah, unless there's
Victor Wembanyama, maybe,
unless there's a
maybe
significant
high.
shift maybe in the rule set as well. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah. So if you want to put in the comments that he's shit, yeah, go fuck yourself. All right, boys. Let's talk about the NBA as it stands. And Monks, if you wouldn't mind getting those All-Stars up, we'll talk about briefly the East first. Celtics still lead. The Bucks, they're getting their shit together. 9 in a row. 76ers sit third. Cavs sit fourth. Nets.
Pew! They're going to go right to the bottom, I'd say, after this week.
Do you reckon they blew they're getting some handy players coming in, but you lose
It depends whether they
you
can
lose
trade
KD.
and you lose Kyrie. So it depends if they can bring in and build a team. But Ben Simmons there is probably shitting himself that I'm now the face of this franchise.
Good for
Yeah.
Aussie fans.
Yeah.
Paddy's
probably going to get some minutes. Yeah.
Nick Claxton going, fuck, need to score some points here. How about me? I thought, I'll take the Bulls at $1.40, going up against the Nets. They just blew up their house. Joe Harris goes out and destroys the Bulls.
Yeah, Cam Thomas. I think he
had 40
games in a row.
40s in a row, I think. Yeah.
So, again, maybe they're seeing something in their young talent. They're like, we're happy to ride it out. We tried the big three thing. It didn't work for us. Maybe we try some young talent.
What they've gone is window was open, window now closed.
Yeah.
Blow it up and try again in a few years.
Yep.
Heat, we spoke about a few weeks ago. They're climbing up. Knicks haven't been too bad. Hawks, Justin Holiday and my mate Frank the Tank. They go to Houston. A couple of blokes I've never really heard of, if I'm being honest. Go to Atlanta. The Bulls, you'd think on paper should be a playoff team. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. The Raptors, they get Jakob Poeltl from the Spurs. Then we've got Wizards, Pacers, Magic trade Mo Bamba to the Lakers for Pat Beverly, and then put a line through Hornets and Pistons. Not heaps of trade action, admittedly, in the East, obviously outside of KD and Kyrie.
Well, moving guys out.
Leaving. Yep. A lot of trade action in the West. You want to talk about the Joker?
Well, has he firmed anymore as a favourite for MVP?
I think he would have. He had a triple-double in a first half this week.
I saw he was up to 18 for the year, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's got a couple more on that.
What was he 2 weeks ago? $1.80 or something?
I can tell you what he is now.
What is he now?
It's shorter than $1.80.
It is shorter than $1.80. It's $1.57 for MVP. Joel Embiid, $5. Sitting at second there.
Yep. And the Nuggets keep winning. Outside of that, I guess the one bad game he's had this year against those 76ers, against Embiid, he's been, his numbers across the board have been elite. So, would not surprise me if he was MVP for a third time in a row, which would be very impressive. And what's interesting about this trade window, they threw around second-round picks like anything. And I think I made the comment like second-round picks aren't really that great in the NBA. Joker was a second-round pick. So.
He was, and I thought about it, and I think for the most part you are right. Like
the big guys that come out of college, they want to get to have their first rounders, of course. Like and you're taking more risks and taking more things like, there's a big Eastern European guy coming out. Like, we'll throw a second-round pick at him, see if we can make him into something.
But if you get 4 and 1 sticks, exactly. You've won.
Yeah, because I think that Pat Beverly trade, they threw in like a whole bunch of second round picks they got through other trades, and the second round picks were thrown around like anything in this trade window. Happy to throw them in with moving guys around, but it's you can. That's the thing. You've got more darts, I guess, in that stage. You're throwing them, and hopefully one of those hits the board.
I think for the most part you are right, but if one hits,
and you end up with a 3-time MVP, like.
Yep,
you'll take it.
Obviously Joker was a second round pick. Manu Ginobili was a second round pick. Marc Gasol, Draymond Green. So occasionally they do hit.
Mm-hmm. And the Nuggets got a 5-game lead currently in the West.
We're gonna keep going down the West there. The Grizzlies, a little bit of a slide. 2-8 in their last 10. I don't think they'll be.
Ja been hurt?
I don't think he's been playing every single game. Kings are the highest scoring team in the NBA.
Beam me up.
Beam me up, Delhi.
Oh, the beam.
Mavs with Kyrie. What does Kyrie to the Mavs?
He hasn't played with Luka yet, has he?
No. It's going to be interesting to see that chemistry because on paper, that is the best two guards in the NBA.
Well, they
really?
with Kyrie in their first game a couple of days ago, they won handily in that one. So kind of showing that that he could fit into the team and carry it straight away. Add Luka to that mix, and he's like, they're pushing, and that's probably why some of the other teams in the West also wanted to, we got to make moves to compete because that was the first domino really that fell.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. The Clippers did a bit. They send Reggie Jackson to Charlotte for Mason Plumlee, which is a little bit strange, small for a big.
Yep.
And then they apparently are trying to bring in Eric Gordon and Bones Highland. Can you confirm, Monks, if that has happened or not? And we'll get into essentially the team that we need to talk about, the Phoenix Suns, bringing in KD. Big threes is something that has been spoken about throughout NBA sort of recent history.
Is the trade window still open?
No, I think it's closed now.
Okay, because I had seen rumors that Chris Paul, they were trying to move him, but if they're still there, they've of course got now. Well, Kevin Durant, that's a big one. KD with Booker there,
and CP3,
yeah.
I know there's only 5 blokes on the court, and 4 and 5 need to contribute, but there's 3 massive ones there. The Suns have gone a little bit Los Angeles Rams. It's this year or next year now, and who gives a fuck?
Well, they've got their new owner, and he just bought a 57% share in that club, and that deal was official at 11 a.m. 11 p.m. they made that trade for KD. So he was on the same day. So he was pushing very hard to make a big statement because I think Suns have been deep multiple times, but adding KD to that team is an elite change.
Do you see them with KD being the best team in the West?
Ooh, better than the Mavs?
You'd have to go Mavs, all right.
What about Golden State? Golden State's still sitting there.
What about the Kings?
Pels are falling down a little bit.
I hope the Kings fucking win the whole thing this year. Just so everyone can say, shut up.
Hard to say.
Yeah, on paper, geez. Hard to question.
How good is the West?
Oh, how good's the NBA? Just quietly. Because I'm sure the Celtics and Bucks are going, yeah, that's cool, but I reckon we got ya. Probably the downside for the Phoenix Suns is they send three of their essentially starters in Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 first rounders. We're talking
huge trade
about trying to get a second round dart to stick.
4 first ones.
You're sending 4 first rounders. I know KD is one of the best basketball players of all time. Does this trade make sense from a Suns point of view?
If they win it this year, yes.
Yeah, you get a ring. Yep, it makes sense.
If we get the ring for the new owner, then yes. If not, then maybe they try running back next year. Maybe that's their window. It's this year, next year. And if not, then it didn't work. Just
from this trade, 2025, 2030, if you're a Suns fan, buckle up because
it might be tough.
When
if you're a Nets fan, though, on the other side of it.
Yeah, when CP3 and KD, hang up the boots, it's going to be fucking tough sledding.
Yep.
Pell sitting 7th. T-Wolves did a bit. So they were involved in a 3-way trade with the Jazz and the Lakers. Mike Conley goes to Minnesota. Lakers get D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. And who's the other team? Jazz. They will get Russell Westbrook. Writing on the wall, I think for some time, a lot has been spoken about where will Russ end up. Obviously, the relationship with the Lakers has probably been on thin ice for quite some time.
And I guess that leads into the Lakers because they've sent, they've blown that up where they had Pat Beverly and Russell Westbrook. They've sent them off. It was like, hey, we're not going to go with you guys. But then they get D'Angelo Russell back after getting rid of him originally.
Yeah.
That's the AD trade, wasn't it?
I think so. It might have been. Yeah.
It might have been a 3-way kind of partnership there. So that was a bit interesting.
Developed a lot, actually, in his time outside of the Lakers. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
What was the deal with, is it Beasley? Is Beasley's... No, he with Scottie Pippen Jr's mother, and they're playing on the same team now.
Yeah, I don't want to buy into any of that fucking Kim Kardashian shit, but I think Scottie Pippen's young lass does a bit of
No, I think it's the mum. So Scottie Pippen Jr. plays in the same team now as the dude that's dating his mother.
Yeah, look, we talk about sport on this show, and we try to keep the fucking home and away neighbours' antics out of it. But yes, I do believe that is the case.
Are these trades good for the Lakers? I'd say yes.
Long term.
There you go. He's got it up for us.
Long term, it's going to depend.
Dated. It's a dated. Okay.
Oh, dated.
So, yeah. So, it might get a bit hot and heavy in the training room and he shouts
Malik Beasley and Scottie Pippen Jr. are now teammates. This is Beasley with his mother. What's a real, trashy magazine?
it'd be an Australian magazine, like Women's Weekly or some shit like that.
Yeah. I'm talking trash, yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. It's not really our realm, is it?
No.
It's not really our realm.
Reading.
It depends what pictures are in it.
Well,
there's only certain magazines we read.
I couldn't tell you the last time I read a physical magazine. I couldn't tell you the last time.
No, there's the internet for that now, bro.
I used to like reading like golf fucking digest and shit. Now it's on my phone.
Why are all these pages stuck together?
In the Golf Digest.
What do we think of the Lakers? Do you think they're now moving up?
I think.
Do you think they can start progressing from third last?
I think short term bringing in Russell and Beasley and Vanderbilt probably helps, but look, they've got a major problem in the next 2 years in that LeBron James is going to retire, and does AD even stay there?
Or LeBron's going to go wherever his son ends up. So.
Shit creek.
Yeah,
to be a Lakers fan, to be honest. Spurs also shit creek, 10-game losing streak. Just lose Jakob Poeltl, who's a handy big man in the NBA, and the Rockets will be gunning for that draft lottery. All-Star game upcoming.
I think
Did you search for that shit? Or?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Western Conference reserves: Ant Edwards, De'Aaron Fox, Shane the Beam, Scotty, Paul George, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had a bit to do in that defeating of the LeBron James Lakers. Jaren Jackson, first time All-Star. Dame Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, the way that he's been playing, my goodness, shoots the 3-ball for a big man very well. Ja Morant and Domantas Sabonis. And then into the Eastern Conference reserves, Bam Adebayor, Jaylen Brown, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, probably a big reason the Pacers haven't been too bad. Drew Holiday surprises a little. Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam. A few little surprises there. Did we work out how this works? So these guys don't necessarily play for West or East. They get picked like a schoolyard.
Or the reserves stay and it's the starters that get schoolyard picked.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I've got no fucking idea, and it seems like
it's just the player pool. Go back to that picture of the player pool. Does it have all of them in it?
No, so I think
no, it's got the reserves in it.
Yeah, but I think the starters.
That's just the pool. It's not split between teams.
Yeah, so it's the pool. So they'll pick the two teams from the whole pool. That's what I'm getting at.
I think the starters play, and then I've got no fucking
I think it's a pool. I think it's a whole pool. How does this? There you go. Draft work. Gets the selected squad, and then they have the team name after him. We'll have the first pick since he was the overall leading voter.
The captains take turns drafting from the pool of 22 players voted in the All-Star field.
Yeah, so this guy at the end of the table.
So you got to pick your starters, go through your starters, and then go through your reserves.
Yes. So that's that picture you've got there.
Style.
The player pool. So that's the pool. So you got to go through the top ones to start with, and then you got to go through the reserves. Yep. Having Joel Embiid as a reserve is probably pretty tasty.
I reckon.
Cool. It is all stars.
Yeah, true. It is. We were talking about the 22 best basketball players.
Yeah.
Anything else to finish on the basketball? Or should we go into...
I don't think so.
All Stars happens next weekend for us, 7 days away. Mm-hmm. That's probably about it.
When's the break officially start? Has it started?
It's sort of like 4 days around it or something. Okay. It's probably a couple of days before, a couple of days after. Right. February 19 is that All-Star game. I sent you guys the picture of the Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah. Yeah, the abbreviations is what we're talking about, and they put it together closely on the image.
SL, UT is the way. Yeah.
That's how I refer to you, but...
That's what I often yell if I rim out a 3-putt on a golf course.
Get in there.
And I'm like, just go home, you Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yes.
Etc. Do your own research.
Into the soccer?
Yes.
Do we need a Sue? He scored a hat-trick the other day too, by the way.
Indeed.
Did he?
Yes, keeps scoring.
Manchester City, they've always been cheating bastards. India, Manchester City. Cheats. No, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The books are a little bit fudged. Is my...
Very fudged, I think.
I was trying to be diplomatic.
I think they were a little bit fudged in their last go-through, and then they've done more investigation and gone, oh, holy fuck, these books are, they're the biggest forgeries of all time. So, it sounds... It's to do with, what do they call it? The fair play, or it's fair financial play or something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, there isn't really a salary cap, but they got to kind of, disclose where the money and who the money is and who's paying what. Essentially, there's a Saudi-backed team, and they've just been using their own ownership money to pay for it, which the other clubs can't do to compete with. So it's meant to be more, I guess, sponsorship, and you got to be, competitive in that way. Be clear on how you're making money and how you're paying players, which by all counts is the thing they haven't been doing, is how they've been getting money and how they're paying their players. And as far back as 2018, 17, 16, I think, like it goes, it's been a long-term using extra money that maybe they shouldn't have, which then has led to the question of what happens. That 2018 date was when they tried to boot them out of the Champions League, I think, for that year.
Yep.
Now it's kind of like, well, what do you do? Do you strip them of previously won titles? Unlikely, in my opinion. Do you demote points? Make them they can't compete this year, which maybe is a good thing for their opinion. He's like, oh, we're probably not going to win this year. Yeah, we'll happily take that slap on the wrist this year. Do they get relegated? Do they have to go play a year down? Again, I wouldn't see it. But I think from what I understand from the the previous legends, sporting personalities, they have to have some punishment. Otherwise, there's no point to have this rule in place.
Yep. Yeah.
You might as well make it a free-for-all with the clubs with the most money will then win the league year on, year out.
Which is essentially where soccer is at the moment.
Yes, yeah. And you look at some of the other, top leagues in other countries, that's what happens. So, yeah. Do I think much will happen? No, I think they'll probably spend the next 5 years in court fighting and going back and forth, happily tied up, and it'll become a forgotten thing.
If they were to be stripped, which, again, we don't think is likely, that would be 3 to Liverpool and 3 to United. So every other football fan in England and around the world is like, fuck that. Like,
yeah. Would they announce a winner, or is there no winner that year?
Yeah, Melbourne Storm-esque.
Yes.
The old asterisk.
Exactly, asterisk, no winner that year. And I don't know. I feel like the likely outcome will be points this year.
Yep. Oh, this year?
Yeah, like in the current Premier League, like where they are on the table.
That's Arsenal win.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but
that's big for Gunners fans if that happens.
And
I think
Arsenal, 2 games in front at the moment?
Yeah.
And so they can still win it. They still got to play each other. But yeah, maybe it's this year. How close are they? 6 points.
6 points and equal games, and both slipped up in the last few weeks, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm. They play each other next.
I think they'll get stripped next year.
Stripped of what?
Points.
Okay, so as in like you're going to next year and you're starting with negative points or something. Or you can't score points for your first 10, 15 rounds.
Remember when the Bulldogs played a year in the NRL and they started on like -10 or whatever?
Yeah, but they also the year before were first and got all their points stripped and were last.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, so
again, maybe it's not lock for like, but
yeah, I kind of feel like they might strip them a bunch of points in, not to the point where they get relegated, but put them out of contention, write them off this year, and then they can come back and compete next year.
And United played Champions League for the first time in years.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how does this all affect Champions League and all that as well?
It's the 4.
Is there other sort of well, yeah, it's probably more of an EPL thing than anything else.
Spurs probably be licking their lips. They've been a little bit underwhelming. Did beat Manchester City last week. They've never lost to City in that new stadium, in that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Newcastle, obviously,
it continues.
That oil money is doing a little bit, bit for them.
You might have to check their books, see where they are. I think they've just been very good at not losing games. That's probably the caveat.
They've only lost one.
Yep.
And what about this mid-table? I like to see Brighton, Fulham, Brentford up and about. You know who's been the best team in 2023? Not Forest. You'd love to see it. Love to see it. You know who's been the worst team in 2023?
I don't talk about it.
Liverpool.
Everton might be giving them a run for the money.
No, it's literally Liverpool. Since January 1.
This year. Sorry, yes.
The worst team in the APL is Liverpool. How's that?
I just don't know what's going wrong at the moment.
They've got 1 win in their last 5, unlike, say, Bournemouth.
Couldn't replace Mane.
No, yeah, true.
Klopp, I don't know, like deservedly they could come last for 2 years. He should be there given their success. But again, we talk about the windows in sport, and again, closing of said windows, and I think they've won everything that they will win given that team.
Yeah, but then they're a big club with cash to burn, so they can probably
they'll recover.
They're real big.
They'll recover better than say a fucking Brentford.
Well, yeah. Speaking of which, you look at Chelsea; they spent $600 million during the last transfer window.
Yeah,
so
and Man City's like, see what these guys are doing? Yeah. See what these guys?
Where they get their money from? So,
Russian oligarchs.
I think he sold the team.
I think he did. Yes.
For billions of dollars. What have they got? 17 more rounds?
Yep. Good maths, quick maths. 16,
so,
17.
Still a lot can happen.
Well, it all essentially is going to, it's going to be a result of whatever the ruling is around this Manchester City.
And I feel like they won't get one anytime soon.
I don't think they'll get points stripped this year.
Because I know, I'm pretty sure from that the last one for that Champions League, getting them booted out, that went to court. I think it spent like 18 months before it then got thrown out. Go find more evidence and investigation, and that's kind of where they got to this point 4 years later. So, if anything, it's going to spend years in courts before there's any kind of official ruling. That's my take on that.
That'll get us into our On The Esky final round.
Ding, ding.
You want to go top of the card backwards, off the notes?
Yeah.
So
Start with the main one. UFC 284, we're talking about in Perth. Just completed, was why we were a little bit late. Watching our boy Volkanovski, Alexander the Great, trying to push his case to maybe even GOAT status, like getting the light belt and being a dominant champ. Unfortunately, it falls a little bit short.
He was so close. We watched the fight, all 5 rounds. That's the first time that Islam Makhachev has been taken to 5 rounds ever in his career. And we thought, maybe, with our Aussie goggles on, that Volk won 3 and 5 handedly.
Yep.
So I suppose the judges have scored the first, second, and maybe 4th rounds to Islam.
One judge gave 4 rounds to Islam, and
He's on crack.
Yeah.
Like 49-46, I'm sorry. I can't accept that.
Yeah.
48-47, Makhachev, fair.
Yeah, we could say
fair. Control the ground.
Yeah, well, I think round 1 and 2 definite for Islam. 3 and 5 was definite for Volk for me. The 4th was the debatable one about how you score that, because there was the takedown for Islam and he had ground control for 4 minutes and did nothing with it. But then also Volk couldn't escape from that position. But they didn't improve or change anything. It's just, I guess in that regards, you probably lean it towards Islam because he had the position and controlled it for the whole round, but it was a nothing round essentially. If I could, I probably wouldn't have given it to either of them. And maybe we do a draw and then run it back.
We'll get into that
because that's probably a fair way to run that back. But
there's not a planet in this solar system or in the universe in which 49-46 makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm an Aussie. Of course, I've got a vested interest. I'll cop 48-47 on the chin, but I just don't know how you could score that 49-46. And then that begs the discussion around UFC judging and is there better ways, and maybe we don't get into it this podcast.
Yeah,
but,
it's been terrible. I think there's been some recent decisions as well that haven't been real great.
No.
But you kind of get that. You get the ups and downs of you get a decent card and then there's some bad decisions and then that's the rhetoric. You don't let it go to the judge's decision. Take it out of their hands.
And Volk had the opportunity to do that in that 5th round when he had that mount and he was grounding and pounding.
Trying his best, but
he could have finished and put it out of the judge's hands there.
Yeah, maybe need another minute just to try to work in a better position. Just didn't have enough time, I guess, to finish and to kind of lay the groundwork. But but it was great visual. That's how the fight ended, with Islam standing above. With Volk standing above Islam, raining down shots. After 5 rounds, and damage-wise, it looked more like Islam was a bit more beat up on the face because of it. So it was a great fight. It was, elite from both sides of it. You could see how much bigger that Islam was of Volk, and Volk really, to his credit, it was just like, I'm here to challenge myself. I'm here to push myself. I've dominated the featherweight division, and I've come up to fight the big boys, and showed that he could compete. He's pound for pound second best fighter in the world as of this fight. His rank is probably will flip now post this. Pushed him to 5 rounds. No one's ever done that. Guy that most people thought was the next Khabib. Did things to Islam that no one could ever do to Khabib as a comparison.
Yep.
Fought through the wrestling, got out of those positions. Was had some bad spots, but never looked super in danger that he was going to lose the fight.
No.
And then maybe got the better on the feet. So
he can hold his head high.
Oh,
no Aussie is disappointed in watching that effort from Volkanovski.
No. Yeah. And give Islam his credit as well. He did what he needed to do. He definitely looked more powerful when he was landing shots, especially earlier in the fight. Volk did work his way through that, and then I think was better in the back half of the fight. But, Islam's game plan was good. He did what he needed to do to win rounds and to win that fight. For a fight that, Volk historically goes to decisions, like if that was always the game plan, like, hey, we knew there was going to be a long fight. Let's make sure we win the earlier rounds, which he did, and then make it very hard for the judges to give Volk, their home field advantage in their decisions.
The crowd has to play into it.
It was a great crowd too, and they were, of course, not happy. But
well, just again, not taking anything away from Makhachev, but everything on social seems to lean towards Volk being robbed as well.
I don't see it as it's not the worst robbery.
Robbery is a strong word, isn't it?
It is.
It was a close fight. I think I'd probably lean more towards a draw. I wouldn't have rated that fourth round.
Draw.
But no, I was just saying it was clearly 2-2. That fourth round was just nothing. I just wouldn't give it to either of them. That's how I would have judged it. I would have gone, there was just nothing
Scratch
worthwhile.
the fourth round, go to the sixth round.
Yeah, exactly. We'll draw up. Let's go overtime. Let's have a sixth round. I could see, Volk, of course, got to do a job, go back, defend his belt. If he does that, Islam keeps his track, then there's no reason why they can't fight again. No. Very much like Nunes and
what does Makhachev have to prove, though?
But Volk said he might go back to featherweight, and was talking about Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah, he said he's got to do the job, but he said I'm not done on the lightweight division either.
He did say that.
So
Makhachev should fight someone else, and
exactly.
then
he doesn't
if
want
he wins.
He doesn't want the winner of Chandler and McGregor because that's the fight for
which is the money
fighter.
That's a money grab.
It's a money fight. Yeah. Chandler's lost. He's 1-4 or something like that, or 1-3 in his last 4. So no, it'll be one of those guys in 2 and 3 in that spot, ready to go. Probably Dustin, maybe, or they run it back with Oliveira. So we'll see. Or if Oliveira gets a good win, that's kind of where I think it is. Maybe a couple of fights, they go away, they fix their divisions up, and then again, it's a little like, hey, they're pound for pound 1 and 2. Let's sort it out again. So who's improved in the last 18 months, maybe, and then we get to run it back. So we'll see.
Let us know what you think in the comments. If you think Volk was robbed or if Makhachev probably just a little bit better on the day. I'll tell you what I can say, hand on my heart, is Volk is maybe one of the, I'm trying to say this delicately, sickest see you next Tuesdays athletes in Australia, because he's so humble and he takes on challenges and fights guys that are 4 inches taller than him.
Yeah, he might be not making as much money as some of the guys in the NBA, etc. But we didn't even cover Malanta, playing left tackle for the Eagles.
Could buy an NRL club.
Yeah. For Volk, the athlete, for the guy kind of pushing and challenging himself to try and take his game to another level after being such a dominant champion. All full credit to him.
Definitely.
Let's roll through the rest of the card. Featherweight has a interim champion. That is Yair Rodriguez defeating Josh Emmett. They were exchanging in the first round, and then Yair caught him in the triangle. The first time ever that Josh Emmett gets submitted, and the first time that Yair gets a submission. Interesting when a guy that's predominantly striking focused is able to submit. Does that make that a little bit scary, or do you think Volk goes down there and takes care of business?
It'd be interesting because I guess if you do the UFC or mixed martial arts math, Rodriguez losing to Holloway losing multiple times to Volk. Maybe he's got it already kind of over him, but as we're just talking about, who makes the improvements, who changes, adding submission game as well to I think that fight would be striking in my opinion, just the way it kind of will go down.
Volk held his own against Makhachev.
Oh, didn't he?
Yeah,
in the wrestling.
Yeah, it was the same thing. It was like, well, now what's Volk's ground game looking like? Can you even get that there? So it's another elite fight and a good division.
Just great that they're all just upskilling, just making everything so much more competitive. Just that next level.
Agree.
Welterweight, Jack Della Maddalena defeats Randy Brown. It was a good night outside of the main event. It was a good night for the Aussies. He's probably going to shoot up a little bit in the rankings. Did you catch much of this, Mugs?
Did he call out Paddy the Baddy after his fight? I think I saw that.
I think he did. He did.
That'd be interesting in the welterweight division. They're kind of in a similar sort of spot.
Be a bit of cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which one was this one?
Third fight. Third fight from me.
Yeah, I was zoning in and out of fights. So I can't remember all of them. No, I didn't catch much of this one.
He submitted him?
Submitted him, yep. Red naked.
Yeah, there's huge raps on Jack as well as a potential future star for the Australians, like future champion kind of thing for Australia. So we'll have to see.
Stacked division.
Yeah, definitely.
Welterweight, yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
Heavyweight, Justin Taffer getting the job done on Parker Porter. He knocked him out within a minute.
Did see this one.
Heavyweight.
just a classic heavyweight.
Yeah.
Overhand, just clocked him and
job's done.
Job's done.
Bit of brouhaha.
Yeah.
And then I guess we've got to talk about Jimmy Crute, our light heavyweight, fighting out a draw. In a fight, I guess he would have lost without the points deduction.
Yes. So the way that it works in the UFC is it's majority rules from the judges. So two judges scored at 28-28, which means
29-28, yeah.
It's 28-28. It has to be
so that
draw.
So they've ruled 2 rounds to 1, and the other dude was all three rounds to his opponent. But because of the points deduction, that's the equalizer there. So
what's your thoughts around that? If we don't want to have draws so much in this sport.
We have draws fuck all the time.
It is rare. It is rare, but it's not like I was saying amongst pre-show. It's not like soccer. If you have a 0-0 draw and then you play, on Wednesday night in the FA Cup and then you play next weekend.
Play them again in a few more rounds.
It's 4, 5, 6 months of preparation. For it to end in a draw is a little bit disappointing for both the fighter and the viewer, I would think. Does the UFC start to think?
We've seen some AFL draws in the finals, and they play it the following week,
and then they change the rules straight away.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, as disappointing as it is like that's the game. Like, obviously, neither fighter really had the upper hand on the other fighter.
Well, by the judging there, the Alonso would have won this fight, but I guess it was the grabbing of the cage for that points deductions enough to edge him that he would have won that round. Like, you gain so much an advantage of a position that it's leading to him winning the round. So that points deduction means he's not winning that round, which then, of course, in this point leads to this draw. I don't know. You could talk about judging and scoring for a long time. I think using the boxing kind of scoring in a thing that's way more dimensional than say boxing is now,
and that can be a whole nother podcast.
3 judges versus do you do 5? Do you do 10? Do you do crowd scoring or some shit like that?
Fox is a new champion. if that's the fucking chat.
But it is what it is for now, and I understand that how it ends up the way it did. Would I get rid of draws? Probably not. Do I think the majority draw, like here where it's 2 judges had the draw and 1 had the victor? I think that I'm happy with that. That kind of makes sense. It's still 2 judges versus 1. Overall judging and scoring, look at it.
They probably run it back, maybe.
Usually with a draw, they do run it back.
And shout out to Jamie Malarkey on the undercard, defeating Francisco Prado, another Aussie to get a win on the night. So pretty successful night, really, on the Aussies' behalf. You got some scoring there.
There's a scorecard for Makachev and Volkanovski.
Gonna have to zoom in here for our eyes. Oh, sorry, I just liked said post. So, Judge 1 scored it. Makachev, Volk, Makachev, Volk.
That's what we're saying.
Judge 2, this is the judge that, like, seriously, can Can we get a drug test on this guy?
So he gave the third round to Islam as well, which was the difference. And then
9, 9, 9, 9, 10.
Yeah, and then the last judge was
lay
the
off
same.
the crack, bro.
Last judge was the same.
And that's watching
we've
it
said.
live. We thought 3 and 5 Volk.
Yeah.
And then coin flip.
Yeah. And then the fourth round was how would you score it? And they've scored it in favour of Islam. Understandable.
That second judge is fuck, man. That's
I don't see how you'd see that third round for maybe because Volk got the knockdown in that round. The wrestling was kind of comparable.
Yeah.
I think it felt like Volk was starting to take over that fight in the third round. That's why I'd also give him that round. But anyway.
second judge is a Putin cuck.
Do you want to finish off with the golf?
Sure. Don't come after me, Flat. Waste Management in Phoenix, one of the biggest regular season tournaments in the PGA, happens to be in the same place that the fucking Super Bowl happens.
I was going to
tomorrow.
say Arizona's got a big this week.
Dude, could you imagine boys' weekend? Friday, maybe go play around, 18, lose a few balls, the course got the better of me, not my swing. Saturday, you go to the golf, 20,000 that congregate around the 16th. One of the pinnacle sort of golf events that gets around, and then Sunday you go to the Super Bowl. You probably need to be cashed up to do that.
Just a little bit.
B, you probably need to be able to back up 3 days on the beers, which I can't do these days. But the sentiment is nice. The sentiment is nice. Phoenix would be absolutely popping off this weekend. Can we get a leader? I think Scotty Chef was doing pretty well. Yep, he leads by 2 shots from this Taylor bloke from Canada who, hand on heart, never fucking heard of him. And then you sort of more sort of household names in Rahm and Spieth and Xander Schauffele sort of come in. Jason Day, he was doing a bit. He's probably he's only 4 shots. You never know. You never know. And then they start to drop off a little bit. But how good? So tomorrow morning, if you wanted to, you could wake up early here, Australian time. Watch the 4th day of the Waste Management Open in Phoenix into the Super Bowl. It'd be a real shame if you had to work.
Yes.
Real shame, boys. Real shame.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of rugby league. We like to talk about rugby league on this podcast. A lot of trials underway. I did watch back my Dragons against St. Helens. Look, they lost by 2 tries against 3-time, I think, in a row Super League champs. They played essentially their full squad. Their fullback is very, very good. They have a Lomax. We have a Lomax. Quite confusing if you're listening and not watching. Lomax put someone in. Yes! For St. Helens. No. The Dolphins, I think they're playing right now up there against North Queensland. So obviously a lot of speculation. How's Milford going to go? Their forward pack seems okay. Their spine, maybe not so much. I suppose time will tell.
Tough trial against the Cowboys as well.
Could you imagine playing up there this time of the year?
Yeah. Bunch of young fellas.
Fuck all of
for
that.
both squads. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I guess the big match was the Indigenous All-Stars.
Getting the win last night, 28-24. I like the fact that they've gone away from, in the last few years, used to be NRL All-Stars, and now because
it's a Maori All-Stars. Yeah.
That's right. I think they're playing for, all the players playing for their culture. It probably means a little bit more, on a personal level. A very good game of rugby league played there in Rotorua, the first time I think that they've ever hosted.
Coppo doing a job of that.
Yeah, he's good, man. Like, for whatever, dumb shit happened last year, Selwyn Cobbo is a fucking elite rugby league player. And looking at these team lists, I thought Indigenous 1 through 7 is so good, but I didn't think they had the pack to get the job done. And it turns out they do. But yeah, you got to look at the halves. Look at the halves. Cody Walker and Nico Hines up against, with respect, Zach Docker-Clay and Paul Turner. So maybe that's the way that you've got to look at it. A little bit sort of spoken about this week, Jack Whiten, Terrell Mitt.
Bit of wrestling.
Outside of Canberra establishment.
Just wrestling.
Just wrestling. That's what it seemed like. Just a bit of
Just a
wrestling.
bit of wrestling.
Obviously, the NRL doesn't give two fucks. See the video?
Yeah, there was nothing in it. I think the coppers just wanted to shut it down in case it escalated. And then Latrell was meant to stay with Jack, so Jack was like, "If you're taking him, you got to arrest me as well." So sticking with his cousin essentially, and they got taken off and then released, and they both went back to his place and had a nap, and then got on the plane the next day to go play in this game. So
and won.
Yeah, and won. So I think it was a bit of nothing.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
A bit of alphas, getting in a bit of wrestling, and they got out of hand.
Yeah, 4 a.m. wrestling.
Yeah.
If that's a criminal
it's
offence,
happened once or
fucking throw
twice.
me in jail.
Yeah.
Never 4 a.m. Probably normally 9 p.m. For mine.
Yours is usually bad mouthing coppers. So
That was one time, and it was like 10 years ago.
yeah, I know. It was ages ago.
I don't think
Before you had common sense. Yeah.
I have it now.
No.
I don't think my father has ever been so disappointed, and I've given him a lot to be disappointed about. All right, boys. Thank you for Zipod. That will do us. Obviously, massive Super Bowl tomorrow. Can Australia turn it around against India? I hope so. My rational brain says probably not.
Yeah.
What have we got? NBA All Stars. We've got footy around the corner.
Has there a bargaining agreement yet? I don't think so.
No, there's no pen to paper.
Give it a week. We'll have to talk about that next week.
Yeah.
I think that they're getting close to their
And they were
deadline.
delaying kickoffs. I think that was their big flex.
Yeah, I think they kind of backtracked on all of that. I know
Who
they
backtracked?
had players.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because literally all they got left is striking if they don't get what they want.
Yeah.
Then those 160 players from the US
Yes, yeah.
coming over.
And how many forward passes we getting, bro?
I know. Derek Henry's playing edge for the Dragons.
I'd take it.
Fucking oath. Fucking oath.
He might not play the full 80, but you get him on there for 30. That'd
Oh, yeah. King, you want to come play 12 for the Dragons? We'll give you 300 grand. Anyways, thank you to anyone that has contributed in their live comments. We do appreciate the love. I think we'll be back next week. That's a general consensus.
Just got a good time out.
Hopefully we're watching cricket live and it's not.
We were hoping today. And
Yeah,
not,
we were.
We didn't
were.
cover it at 2 and a bit day test. Like,
Didn't think about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate.
What you need to do is have your expectations and have your reality separated, boys, because
That's what your wife said.
she's been saying that for fucking 12 years, mate.
I know. He set me up there.
Poor thing.
The alley-oop.
LeBron is very good at basketball.
Yep.
Hopefully, Australia learn how to play spin in the next 4 days. And we'll talk about rugby league and AFL in the coming weeks.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yes.
Righto.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next time. Catch ya.
Bye.